Okay. Good evening, everyone. I call this meeting to order. Mauricio, roll call, please.
Commissioner Lama? Here. Commissioner Stuyvesant? Here. Commissioner Vizcarra?
Here.
Vice Mayor Joseph?
Here.
Mayor Svechin?
Here.
All members present, ma'am.
Great. Thank you. Okay, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance. Sunny, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then you'll sing? This way or this way, doesn't matter. You just start with the Pledge of Allegiance. You start us. So you just start saying it. I pledge allegiance.
You can take either flag.
We'll help you.
We'll
Okay.
do it, yeah.
1, 2, 3.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You could just remain standing. She's going to perform the national anthem.
Suni? Suni.
She can't use that?
I'm okay. Can I use this one? Thank you. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Bravo.
Thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. Do we have an invocation?
We do not, Mayor. We
Okay.
had some trouble.
All right, that's okay. All right, so we'll move on to approval of the minutes. Oh, no, the opening statement.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome and thank you for being here tonight. Please turn off or mute any electronic devices to avoid interrupting these proceedings. In all issues that come before the City Commission, we ask that everyone show mutual respect for one another by listening quietly to each person speaking, and that everyone refrain from any clapping, heckling, or verbal outbursts in favor or in opposition to a speaker. Individuals that do not adhere to Chapter 74, Rules of Procedure of the Code, particularly Section 74-21, decorum, shall be barred from further appearance before the Commission. Individuals who want to speak on any item on the agenda are asked to fill out a public speaker's card and give it to the city clerk before the item is called. Speakers are asked to speak to the issues, make comments concise and to the point, and refrain from making duplicate comments. All speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. If you speak out of turn without permission from the chair and or do not cease speaking after one warning, you will be escorted out of the chambers.
Great. Before we go to the changes that we have to the agenda, I just want to remind everyone here to please fill out this public speaker card. You can go ahead and just grab one now in case you decide to speak later. I will remind you throughout the evening, but please try to do that right now. We have tried something different today. We had a workshop this morning in hopes of making these meetings more efficient so that we could do the work of the city. To that end, I'm asking everyone to please maintain decorum, to really follow parliamentary procedure, and that goes for this dais as well, and my colleagues. Everything goes through the chair, which is me. So before you come up to speak, please make sure that you are recognized. Same thing goes for the dais. And again, please remember to fill out the public speaking cards. We have some changes. We're deferring 10S, adding 10V, 10W, 10X, and then additional information has been added for 10N, O, and R. Can I get a motion to approve these changes?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Great, thank you. Do we need a vote, Mauricio?
No, just all
Okay.
in favor.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. All right. 3A, 3B, 3C? Mauricio?
Motion to approve the minutes for August 17th, the special city commission meeting, first budget hearing and second budget hearing on both September 5th and 14th respectively.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second?
Great. All in favor? Great. All right.
We are now on to the zoning portion, and Mayor, your introductory statement.
Ladies and gentlemen, this evening's agenda has one zoning application. In these matters, the commission sits in a quasi-judicial capacity. The decision of whether or not to approve a zoning variance is not a popularity contest, but must be based upon substantial and competent evidence as it is presented tonight. If you intend to provide testimony on any zoning application, you must be sworn in by the city clerk, and you should also fill out a public speaker's card and give it to the city clerk before the item is called. We will first hear from the city staff and then from the applicant. After this, I will allow anyone from the audience who has been sworn in to provide testimony. The zoning applicant has the right to cross-examine any witness, and for rebuttal, please make your comments concise. Mr. City Clerk, can you swear them in?
Yes, ma'am. In accordance with the LDRs of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, all items to be heard today have been legally advertised in the newspapers. Notices have been mailed and posted on the properties. All persons wishing to speak at this hearing, please raise your right arm to be sworn in. The applicants, do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. So 6A is an application by La Playa Beach Associates for a site plan modification for signage at the property located at 18801 Collins Avenue. Before we proceed with Amy's report, are there any ex-parte communications that need to be disclosed?
No?
Yes,
Commissioner, the nature of your conversations?
I spoke to the applicant, Manuel Grosco.
Same.
The same. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. This item is application PZ 2023-10 regarding signage at the St. Regis Sales Center. The Sales Center is located at 18801 Collins Avenue in the mixed-use resort zoning district. Originally approved in 2015, the Sales Center is fully constructed and operational today. It supports the sales and marketing of future condo units in the St. Regis Residences development. On the screen, you can see that the property is highlighted in blue. On the north end of the site is the sales center and its parking lot, and the large sandy area is where phase 1 of the project is going to be constructed at the south end of the property. The applicant has installed 2 wall signs on the sales center. In order to have the after-the-fact building permit issued, the applicant has 2 requests. First, the applicant requests a site plan modification to allow 2 wall signs because the original site plan approval in 2015 only approved 1 wall sign. And second, a sign ordinance variance is requested to exceed the allowable sign size of 35 square feet. Specifically, 1 sign is 43 square feet and the other is 58 square feet. Here are the proposed plans for the wall signs. These are backlit signs advertising the St. Regis Residences development and the development team of Fortune International and the Chateau Group. And this is a photo of the installed signs on the sales center facade. Staff reviewed the application package and followed the city's code, which outlines the process and criteria for site plan modifications and sign ordinance variances. The proposed site plan modification to allow 2 signs is consistent with the land development regulations. However, the variance request is not consistent with the city code. The subject property does not have a special condition or circumstance to justify the increased wall sign size. And I'm available if you have any questions.
Great, thank you. Do we have any public speakers?
No, ma'am.
Okay, do we have questions from the dais? Commissioner Lama?
No, no questions.
Commissioner Miskar? Vice Mayor?
No
Commissioner
questions.
Okay, no questions. Then I'll take a motion.
Second.
There's 2 resolutions before you. There's one for the variance and one for the site plan modification.
Okay, so we're
Do
voting
those
separate.
separately. Mhm.
Okay. You want to read them, Mauricio, first?
Give me 1 second, Mayor.
I only,
So sorry, 1 second.
take your time. I want to make sure it's done right.
Okay, we'll do the zoning variance first. So it's a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach approving the application for variance, application number PZ 2023-10, submitted by La Playa Beach Associates LLC, to allow a variance from the requirements of 265-63.1 of the city's land development regulations to increase the allowable size of 2 wall signs from 35 square feet to 58 square feet and from 35 square feet to 43 square feet at the property located at 18801 Collins Avenue, Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, providing the city manager with the authority to do all things necessary to effectuate this resolution, providing for severability, providing for repealer, providing for an effective date.
Okay, so I'll take a motion for that resolution.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay,
And
Next
then
one.
the next one is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach approving a site plan modification for signage at the property located at 18801 Collins Avenue.
take a motion.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, the next item, which was included as part of the order of business, is to hear 10X out of order right
Okay.
after this item. So 10X. X is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, approving the inventory list of city-owned property appropriate for use as affordable housing pursuant to Section 166.0451 of the Florida statutes.
Great. Alan, you're going to take this one?
Sure. Pursuant to Florida Statute 166.0451, which was recently enacted in this last legislative session, effective July 1st, municipalities, governments have to, every 3 years, publish a list of its own city-owned property that it holds in fee simple that may be appropriate for use as affordable housing. City staff has reviewed those properties and have determined that there are none that they can identify that would be appropriate for use as affordable housing from a zoning standpoint. So as you can see on your resolution, the list is empty and makes that statement. Other jurisdictions have also come to the same conclusion. I believe the city of Aventura, city of Doral. It's not unusual for smaller communities to in fact have no properties that are appropriate. So this evening, we just need to pass a resolution where you all have reviewed and approve of the list, and that list, which in essence is a statement, will be published pursuant to the statute on the city's website.
Great. One second, Vice Mayor. Since this was an add-on item, I just want to give the public an opportunity, if anybody wants to put in a public speaking card. This would be 10X. Going once? Okay, so no public speakers, I'm assuming, Mauricio?
No.
All right, so, Vice Mayor, you
Yes.
had a question?
I was actually present, Alan, this morning in Aventura when they had their workshop, and they were discussing affordable housing. And they actually have one project that is going into design and also development, where they have 20, it's a condo unit where they have 20 rental units set aside for workforce housing, in order to have them not be penalized under this statute. So if we designate 0, do we get penalized?
No, this is not a designation. It's basically a list that you publish. In fact, the statute says that it's for publication purposes to identify them, and these are only city-owned properties, not properties throughout the city. It states that specifically each municipality shall make the inventory list publicly available on its website to encourage potential development. But that would be on city-owned property itself. So you would have to lease it, sell it, donate it, convey it in some way, shape, or form, or you can endeavor to construct public housing yourself or affordable housing yourself.
Now, if
But
we
if-
say 0, does that give the county the right to come in, since we've given them a list of our city-owned properties, to take a property of ours?
No. No, you own it in fee simple.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other questions? I'll take a motion. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, now we go to 10A.
10A is a resolution approving the renewal of commercial package policy, workers' compensation, and miscellaneous insurances with Brown & Brown Preferred Government Insurance Trust for the period of October 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2024.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, this is our renewal of our property, casualty, auto, and workers' comp insurance with Brown & Brown Preferred Government Insurance Trust. It's an increase of 7.6% more than last year, and this is for our commercial property, our inland marine haul, and also we have done an appraisal of our city-owned property, and it has increased from $66,422,439 to $78,219,685. We have been with Pidgeot since October of 2003. We also checked with 2 other insurance companies. One declined to quote, and the other has not been fully responsive. So we're recommending going with Pidgeot for our renewal.
Great, thank you. Do we have any public speakers?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Commissioner Viscara? Commissioner Lama? Vice Mayor?
No, ma'am.
No? All right, then I'll take a motion.
Motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you. Next item?
Mayor, we're going to combine the following items, 10B through 10F, and consider them as one vote.
So
So-
I'll just really quickly say, if you intended to speak to any of these items, please go ahead and fill out a card. Go ahead.
Okay. 10B is a resolution approving blanket purchase orders for the purchase of necessary office and other supplies and services from various vendors for fiscal year 2023 through 2024, which are under $50,000. 10C is a resolution authorizing the city manager or designee to purchase necessary office and other supplies from Staples for fiscal year 2023 through 2024. 10D is a resolution authorizing the city manager or designee to purchase office and other supplies from Amazon Business for fiscal year 2023-2024. 10E is a resolution authorizing the city manager or designee to purchase supplies and equipment from Home Depot for fiscal year 2023-2024. And 10F is a resolution authorizing the city manager or designee to purchase parts and supplies from W.W. Granger for fiscal year 23-24.
Great, thank you.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, these are our purchase orders that are approved by the budget that we bring about at the beginning of every fiscal year. It's our common day-to-day practice.
Great, thank you. Do we have any public speakers?
No, ma'am.
All right, any questions from the dais? I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you.
10G is a resolution approving a First Amendment to the agreement with Martin and Sons Residential Services for pressure cleaning services.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, this is a First Amendment to our agreement with Martin and Sons for pressure cleaning services throughout the city. We have increased their work to twice a year based on need. And this was based on a piggyback that we got from the city of Weston.
Great, thank you. Any public speakers, Mauricio?
No, ma'am.
Are there any comments or questions from the commission?
I think, just again, because we have the benefit of the workshop, and normally we would, I want to make sure that just because we're having the workshop, that we're still being clear with everyone. So I think one of the things that came out in the workshop that's important to clarify is that, that this is not the daily pressure cleaning of the bus stops and our sidewalks, but this is the more heavy-duty stuff. And I do want to make sure that that's clear, because we may not discuss it because we know, but we still need to share that with you guys.
May I add something?
Yes, please go
And
ahead.
this is for twice a year. Before we're doing it once a year, and now this is going to be twice a year.
Okay. I'll take a motion.
Motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Second, I'm sorry, I didn't
Okay.
catch that, Commissioner. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great.
10H is a resolution approving a Second Amendment to the agreement with Visualscape for landscaping services for city parks and recreational facilities.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, this is a one-year renewal with Visualscape. They're the company that handles our parks throughout the city.
Great. Do we have any public speakers?
No, ma'am.
And I just want to piggyback on what Commissioner Viscara said. We now are doing things differently. We normally have agenda reviews individually. We now have a group of agenda review, which is open to the public, and we had that on Tuesday. So you'll get an opportunity, if you would like to hear a much more lengthy conversation during the day for the next commission meeting. But it allows more transparency and allows the public to really hear about what we are discussing. So does anyone have anything that they wanted to add or ask any questions on this item? No?
No.
All right, I'll take a motion.
No, I do have a comment.
Okay.
Visualscape, right now, they are the ones that are parking under the causeway, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, so are we getting a discount for allowing them to park under the causeway? Is that part of the, and right now that we are talking about parking recreations, and the master plan is including maybe building under the causeway, sport facilities, I just want to make sure that we are getting a good deal, allowing them to park so close to us, and also that whenever we need them to move their equipment, they're going to be doing it.
Yes, Commissioner, if we need them to move, they will absolutely move, yes.
But are we getting any good deal for allowing them to park?
We believe that based on the current trends, this is not more than 5%, that yes, we are getting a good deal.
Okay, thank you.
I'll take a motion.
Motion.
Can I-
Second.
All in favor? Great.
Aye.
Hi.
Next item, please.
10I is a resolution waiving the bidding requirements set forth in Chapter 62 of the Code of Ordinances, approving an agreement with Brightview Landscaping to provide landscaping maintenance services for city right-of-way and facilities.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, this is the bid with Brightview to do our rights-of-way throughout the city. We were in the process of going out to bid, and Brightview offered a 5% increase, which we felt like was the best possible solution for the city, for us to enter into a one-year agreement with them. At the termination of Brightview and Visualscape's contracts, we plan on putting out to bid both the parks and right-of-way as a group.
Great,
So this is a one-year contract with a 5% increase.
thank you. Do we have any public speakers, Mauricio?
No, ma'am.
Okay, any comments from, please go ahead.
I would just like to say to the public that it seems as though we run through these items pretty quickly. It's because we've had these presented to us during our agenda review, and we've had the opportunity to ask questions, and for anyone voting yes, we're comfortable with these figures and these issues, and that's why we're able to move more quickly.
Great, thank you. Take a motion?
I know, I do have a comment.
Please, go ahead.
I don't believe that we should be waiving our rights. $900,000 is a lot of money. The contract expires, so I do believe we should be going for to bid. Also, if I'm not mistaken, Brightview Landscaping is also parking under the causeway, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, Commissioner.
And I know that they are servicing Aventura as well, and they have a contract with Aventura. So it's like also very convenient for them to be parking in Sunny Isles, in prime real estate, and servicing surrounding cities. So I think we should compare with Aventura, with North Miami, with the municipalities around us, and we should and we must be careful with the money of the city and be responsible. So there is no way I'll be okay with waiving our right to the bidding process.
Okay, Mr. City Manager, if you can just address that, please.
We did a market analysis of the possibility of putting it out to bid, and based on our analysis, the potential bid could be anywhere from 5 to 122% more than our current bid. So therefore, we are recommending this one-year contract at a 5% fixed rate.
Okay, and regarding the question about the parking under the causeway, is that something that's taken into effect when the contracts are negotiated?
Yes,
taken into
for
account, rather.
staging, but we are provided with a discount, and the same with the other company. If we need them to move, then we can absolutely move them out of there.
Okay.
How long will it take to prepare the bidding package if we wanted to go out and bid?
30 to 60 days.
Okay, so why instead of a year, why are we doing until the end of this calendar year for 3 months or 4 months while we can go out and bid? It's just it's a substantial amount of money. It's almost $1 million, and I do want to really compare. They are servicing Aventura as we speak, so I think we should compare prices.
I have a question regarding this extension. So it's a year starting from?
It would start in October, and then it would end in October. And the reason we're recommending the year is so that this bid would terminate at the same time as Visualscapes, so that we can bid both of them together, the parks and the right-of-way. And should we not enter into a contract with them, our backup for this company is Visualscapes. And the contract that we negotiated with them is higher than the 5% that we have now.
I see. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Commissioner Lama?
No.
Commissioner Mascara?
I wanted the city manager to explain again, just because I know we talked about it in the workshop, the benefits to why we have these two companies and what happened with that.
Well, originally, we were using one company to service, and when we received a bid, it was a substantial bid. So we decided at that time, a number of years ago, to break out the parks from the right-of-way and city government facilities maintenance. So we bid it separately, and we got a better bid at that time. That's the reason it was
For
broken up.
the two parts. We were saving money by separating them rather
Correct.
than having one company do both, which normally it's the other way.
Right, so now, going forward, we wanted to provide a one-year extension for both of these so that when they term, we can again go back and look at either bidding them individually or perhaps joining them and getting a better rate. But we are finding that the trend is extremely high in renewing. Again, anywhere from 5% to over 100% more if we were to put it out to bid.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Sims?
Yeah, well, there is a new companies, and I know there is a price war out there, so I feel more comfortable and more transparent if we are going out and bid. So that's why I feel that we should be doing, and I'm not saying that we are not doing our homework. I'm just saying that be a little bit more throughout and consider also our, the other municipalities that we have surrounding us, and just to see and do, like you said, a market analysis and make sure that we are getting the best bid possible. Again, there are new companies, I see them all the time, and they should be competing between each other to take our business. So again, I would like to make a motion with an amendment to make it for 3 months until the end of the calendar year. Can I make a motion with an amendment?
You can make the motion, but we would need to go back to the company. I doubt the company would enter into a just 3-month contract, especially at the rates that if they're going to have to commit and mobilize for just 3 months, it's going to cost us a lot more. So I don't think they would agree to it.
They
so-
don't need to mobilize, they're already here under the causeway.
No, I understand, but it wouldn't be worth their time to just, by the time we get going and we get the contracts executed for 3 months, it's not going to be worth their time to do that, or to give us the 5%. And I believe procurement has, I don't want to speak for the manager, but I believe they do check surrounding municipality. They do pretty well with regards to investigating pricing.
Mr. City Manager, can you just clarify, was there a market study done?
Yes, the market
Okay.
study is part of your backup.
Great, thank you. All right, so I think we should vote on this resolution, and then if we want to give additional direction at a later date, we can do that at another meeting? Can we do that, or no? In general, if we're talking about extending contracts or reviewing anything?
In general, sure, of course.
Okay,
Well, but this is going to make it up until October of next year.
right, it is.
So they'll both run at the same time.
Also understand that you have terminations for convenience clauses in all your contracts. So should there come a time, I believe that's going to be an issue with Visualscape, where we might have to do that for a small amount of time to coincide both contracts. So if at any time we decide, well, 4 months from now, to the commissioner's point, we decide we want to go out to bid, we can just terminate for convenience and then go out to bid.
With
So
no
we have that up
penalty?
to-
That's with no penalty?
No, I mean, obviously, you're going to have to pay for work that's already been done and all that, but yes, you have termination for convenience clauses in all your contracts.
Exactly. Okay,
Mayor, just for the record, we received a public speaker card after the public speaking portion was closed. Do you want to consider it?
sure.
Jody Joseph.
Hi, Jody Joseph, 18560 North Bay Road. I'm just curious, it was just mentioned that they're parking on our property in Sunny Isles Beach. Is that correct? Is that what you said, Fabiola?
We're not, ma'am, we're not going back and forth. This is just for your comments.
It's just a courtesy. She had just mentioned something which I think is interesting. Do you have a problem with me asking you that?
It's not,
Great,
it's
okay.
not, it's not up to her. Everything
Please
goes
don't be
through the chair.
argumentative.
Ma'am, I'm going to warn you. Everything is through the chair. We've done this before. If you can't follow parliamentary rules, I'm going to ask you to sit down.
I am following decorum, thank you.
Thank you.
My point is, are they parking in Aventura or anyone else's property, or just Sunny Isles?
This is not,
Anybody?
we're not going back and forth here, ma'am.
This isn't back and forth.
It is, this is not a
All right.
forum for you to ask
Okay,
questions.
Okay, my point then is, too bad other cities do, converse with their residents. It's sad you don't allow that. But I'm just wondering, when you had said we get a discount, nobody ever actually says, what is the discount? Is it worthwhile? Is it enough of a discount? Because I know whenever I've been involved in, listening to the meetings, whenever there's a cancellation or a problem, we still have to pay a fee. We never, for some reason, I don't think, get a benefit. So I'm just wondering, has anybody calculated, is the discount enough? And are they using other cities to park their equipment? If we could find that out, I think that would be great.
Great. Thank you. Any comments from the commission? Okay, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
This is a resolution.
All in favor?
So all in favor?
Aye.
Any-
No, I vote no.
Great. Next item, please. Thank you.
10J is a resolution awarding invitation to bid number 2305022 and approving an agreement with Comtech Engineering, Inc. for the Golden Shores Pump Station Rehabilitation Project.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, this is an approval and an agreement with Comtech for the construction of the Golden Shores Pump Rehabilitation. We had, when we put this bid out, we had 780 contractors that were notified. 35 contractors proceeded to register as a plan holder. And during our procurement, our pre-bid meeting, we had 9 interested bidders. The bid we are recommending awarding to Comtech. As you know, we've put a significant amount of money and resources into infrastructure in Golden Shores, and we recommend that this be approved.
Great, thank you. Mauricio, do we have any public speakers?
No public speakers.
Okay. Commissioner Viscar?
No comments.
Commissioner Lama?
No comments.
Vice Mayor?
It's just unfortunate that originally this bid came in at 1.5, and with time and inflation, it's gone up to 4.6. But we have to get this going so it doesn't, again, escalate.
Great. Commissioner Stuyvesant? I'll take a motion.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item, please.
10K is a resolution approving an agreement with Team Contracting to replace the storm drainage at Pier Park.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, this is an agreement with Team Contracting. We have an issue with the storm drain at Pier Park. At some point in time, we've done a video inspection of the drainage, and there is concrete that is blocking the drain. Therefore, we need to go in and trench a new drain for proper drainage in the area.
Okay. Do we have any public speakers?
No, ma'am.
Any questions or comments from the commission? Commissioner Lama?
No.
Commissioner Viscara? Vice Mayor?
It's just one of those unfortunate things.
Commissioner Stuyvesant?
Can we clarify why we are not bidding for this? Because I know, but just to let the people know, okay?
Yes, we're using job order contracting. So there is a consortium of companies that, in order to do repair work or other types of work, use Sourcewell job order contracting. And therefore, we get the benefit of the buying power of more than 50,000 government, education, nonprofit organizations that combine their purchasing power but this is specifically for repairs and not new construction. So,
Yeah.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take a motion.
So
I'll make a motion. Second.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
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 10L is a resolution approving an agreement with Team Contracting to repair the shade structure and restroom facility at Sampson Oceanfront Park.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, this is again Team Contracting. To the commissioner's point, this was also job order contracting to replace or for repairs to the shade structure and bathroom roof at Sampson Park. So we again used the purchasing consortium of, again, over 50,000 government, education, nonprofit organizations to save government agencies time and money through their procurement process. That's how we procured this.
Great. Thank you. Do we have any public speakers, Mauricio?
No, ma'am.
Commissioner Viscar or Commissioner Lama?
No.
Vice Mayor?
I'd just like to add that at some point, I'd like to see changing rooms added to the bathroom structure at that location. I know there are many residents in the city that would find that quite amenable.
Thank you. Commissioner Stuyvesant?
No, no comments.
I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
Aye.
Thank you.
10M is a resolution approving a charitable contribution to the Sunny Isles Beach Social Seniors 501c3 charitable organization.
Before we go on to the next few items, Alan, if you can just give a little bit of explanation as to why we're doing this a little bit differently than we have in the past regarding the charitable donations.
Several meetings ago, the management received direction from the city commission, because we were ending close at the end of the fiscal year, to come up with a process and with some criteria, and the city manager created, consultation with my office, excuse me, a questionnaire or an application requiring certain information by a certain time, because the fiscal year ends essentially after this meeting on October 1st. There was a very limited amount of time to process these and actually be able to expend this money. So there were certain things that were added to ensure to sort of address the issues and concerns that the city commission had with regards to financial viability and things of that sort that you all spoke of at the meeting. And the application requested that information, and those that were able to submit timely were processed, and those applications that were completed without having any deficiencies and that were rendered in time are before you this evening.
Great, thank you. Do we have any public speakers?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So, any comments from the commission for this item? Commissioner Viscara?
We're on M.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I've expressed my views on this, but one thing I do want to say is of the three applicants, the social seniors was really the best application. So kudos for that. But as I've said in previous meetings, you know, I have my criteria that I'm going to stick to, and one of the things is, you know, I'd rather give the money to our own social programming and to enhance our gateway programming than to compete with ourselves. And I also think that one of the things we should consider is not donating to the same organization year after year to create, you know, a dependency issue. So, you know, so I'm a no on this one.
Well, just remember that we don't have any line item for donations for next year.
I'm still a no.
No, I understand. I just want to clarify that. Commissioner Lama, do you have anything you wanted to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate a little bit of my position and the discussion that we had last time that this came up. I think we still don't have a policy in place. What we do have is a form that these applicants filled out. Before we did not, I don't think we even had that. And I think that we're still not there as far as, you know, having a concise criteria, a concise policy on how to move forward with this. Just to give you some observations here. So we have two applicants here that are asking for $10,000 each.
Wait, Alex, I can't be in the conversation about the other one.
Okay, sorry, but we have, okay, so we have this applicant. $10,000 represents 20% of our entire budget for donations, correct? I think that percentage is too high. There's other, right now we have about 33,000 left. The year is almost over. But given that we don't have a policy, we haven't discussed it at length, and I don't think there's anything that's clear. Given the workshop, et cetera, my suggestion is that we defer this, okay? We roll this money to next year. We have a budget amendment where we bring back donations to next year, for next year. I think that was a mistake, and I'm guilty of that too. You know, there was a lot of talk about budget cuts, et cetera, but I think I am not opposed to donations, but I think it's gotta be done the right way with a clear criteria. And we also need to start thinking about what do we want to donate to, right? Do we make a list of like education? Do we give donations to social clubs, equipment to schools, or some other organizations that are in need of that, books, et cetera, whatever we want to come up with. And yeah, some other criteria, like they shouldn't be receiving more than perhaps 10% of that donations budget. I think it's too much of a percentage. And it's got to be the majority of the benefactor should be SIB residents. We should know if the board members are receiving any kind of compensation for their, membership or their work in those organizations. So there's a lot of things that are still up in the air. And I think not to criticize, but we're doing it backwards. Like, we canceled donations for next year. We're looking to spend the $33,000 we still have for this year, and we still don't have a clear policy on donations. And given also some of the donations I brought up, it just doesn't feel right to me. It feels arbitrary at times. It feels like it's muddy. It's muddy. So I think we should step back, have a policy, discuss it, roll the money that we have left this year to next year, and have a budget amendment and bring back donations, and then we move forward correctly.
Okay, but just for the sake of clarification, we did receive a memo from the city manager and the attorney with the qualifications for this.
That's a form. That is
Right.
not a policy. Those are not guidelines. I think that we, as a commission, need to come up with that and say, okay, do we want to donate? Is it just going to be education? Is it going to be equipment for needy organizations? Is it going to be books for schools? Whatever it is, we need to come up with that and then qualify them aside from the form that they filled out. This is more like policy, not a form with basic information about the
If I may add to that.
organization.
Go ahead.
Add to that. So it's progress. Like, now the city is this form. You guys were able to filter out how many there was what, like 10 some.
Yes, please, go ahead.
We had a seven.
There was 7
Okay,
total.
so there were 7 applicants and only 3 made it to us. So your process is filtering out. So that's good. But then we, as a commission, don't have. You're looking for the criteria. Like, that's why I said, like, that meeting where I was
We
on
as
the
a
phone.
commission need to come up with a policy and some,
Right.
criteria, not a form. Thank you very much for the form. I
Right.
think that is
It saves us trouble.
a basic necessity, because obviously you're asking for basic information of these organizations, but is not policy. So I think we need to come up with policy and criteria.
Commissioner Stuyvesant, Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I think it's a mistake that we don't have donations for next fiscal year. We have a $184+ million and 0 for donations. So I think that is outrageous, specifically with the senior citizens. I seen firsthand the job that they do. I saw how engaged and active they were during COVID, when many of our seniors were feeling really isolated, because they were, for safety reasons. So I never been in their board, but I had attended their meetings whenever I have a chance. And I'll be proud to move this motion forward.
Vice Mayor?
I've said in the past that I am for any program that benefits residents of the city. I believe that this corporation has 72 members, about 56 of which are Sunny Isles Beach residents. So in that regard, and to the benefit of those 56 residents who gain a benefit from this corporation, I would also say yes to the donation.
Okay. I just want to add, before I take a motion, that I see your point, and I understand and agree with you that criteria would make it simpler. But I believe that, to your point, we've gotten so much better than we ever were before. And because we do have this budgeted from last year, if we decide that we want to amend our budget and bring back donations, then I do agree that perhaps we should delve into this further to really get a better understanding so everyone's more comfortable. But Commissioner Lama, with all due respect, I don't agree that this is really for us to sit down and decide. I think that we do need the guidance from the city manager and the attorney so they can look at best practices and what other municipalities do, because they're paid to do that, to give their
Agreed.
advice.
But
So.
we still don't have a policy in place.
No,
Yeah.
yes, but this was not part of the conversation before. We talked about at the last meeting that we were going to have a form, and we agreed that that was going to be acceptable. So I'll take a motion, but with this, Mr. City Attorney, if you could just clarify the difference between voting on something like this versus a regular vote, meaning how many people need to vote for it to pass?
Yes, a supermajority.
Okay, so I'll take a motion.
So moved.
I need a
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay,
I'd like to defer.
you can't,
Okay, no.
all right, so the item fails. Okay, next item. I have to recuse myself because I am on the board of this next item, so I have to leave the room. I pass the gavel. I trust you will accept the gavel, Vice
Yes.
Mayor? Thank you.
Gladly.
Vice Mayor, this item is 10N, a resolution approving a charitable contribution to the SIB K through 8 Community School Fund, also known as the Sunny Isles Beach Children's Fund, a 501c3 charitable organization.
Thank you. Are there any speakers?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Vice Mayor,
Okay.
if I may.
Yes, sure.
I just wanted to mention that at our workshop, the commission gave me consensus to go back to the organizations that did not provide tax returns because they may be exempt, and requested that we get 8 months of bank statements and any cleared checks. So we requested that of the next 2 organizations. We received this information back and distributed it to you. So you should have bank statements and any cleared checks for this organization.
Yes. So I did receive that, and I see that we have 2 checks as well. One check is actually made out to Larissa Spetchin for $960, and the memo is summer camp reimbursement, signed by Jeanette Gatto. So, does anyone know what summer camp reimbursement might be?
Any member of the organization here?
Yes. Would you
Yes, please
please
come up
step
to
up,
the-
state your name, address?
Good evening, David Cuenca, 3927 194th Trail. I'm the secretary of the organization. We sponsored 2 children that were refugees from the war in Ukraine. They were living in the Sunny Isles, and we sponsored them to go to the summer camp, the city summer camp.
Okay. So is there a reason that the check is made out to
So
Larissa
Larissa
Spetchin?
paid the amount, and then she was reimbursed.
Okay. Is there a reason that the check wasn't made out directly to Sunny Isles?
I don't know. The children, the fee for the camp was paid by Larissa, and then she was reimbursed by the children's fund.
Okay. And then there's a $61.25 check made out to Jeanette Gatto, signed by Jeanette Gatto with no memo.
I have to check what that was for. I think that was for a simple tax return filing, the postcard form, but I would have to confirm for you.
So was the actual, originally there wasn't an IRS return for this year. Are you on extension?
We don't have to file until December,
Okay.
so we filed as soon as it was requested and sent the copy to you.
Okay, so does anyone have any other questions? Commissioner Viscara? Alex?
No, I just wanted to say, repeat what I stated before. I'm not opposed to any donations. I just think we should have a policy in place. I don't have any particular questions to what Vice Mayor was asking or about the organization itself. I just think that we should, as a commission, take a step back and then have a clear policy in place before moving forward.
I have one other question, if you don't mind. So, sorry. Okay, so I see that since January, you have about $47,000 in a money market account, but then your balance has not increased in your checking account since January. Do you do any fundraising during the year?
We do have some fundraising, yes. And we receive donations from individuals as well.
Okay, so and when would that have occurred?
A lot of the money has been just whittled down over the years. We haven't had the large donations that we used to have from developers. So it has actually decreased each year.
Okay, so overall, you have $52,000 in your account, and I see that there hasn't been much spending. Why is it that you're applying for this donation?
We typically work with the school. They tell us money that they need for different functions, like we have provided money for the computer lab in the past and other functions. We have started a working relationship with the new principal at the school. He's talked to us about some ideas, and it's going to most likely exceed the amount that we have to provide.
Okay, now I know there was another issue with the PTSA fund, that there was a large amount of money there that was misspent, which is now under investigation. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know.
No?
I'm not a member of the PTSA.
Right, okay. All right, so in that regard, Jennifer? Yes.
So the purpose of this organization, because I was, don't remember in what capacity, I guess I was a board member or just a member. So can you speak, the purpose of this organization is basically to help raise funds, because it was intended to be like with a pairing with the city to help funnel money towards the school, to make it, this was my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, to make it look like, to make it like more like a private school that was really a public school, to give the most benefit to our children. Is that a fair summary?
To enhance the offerings of the school beyond what the county was providing them. And it wasn't just for the school, it was for children in general, but most of the money did go to the school.
Okay.
You had to be a resident of the city.
Okay, so I don't have a problem with the organization. My snag is why the city's participation was cut off like 2 years ago or whenever. Again, my timeline is not right, but up until about 2 years ago, we had a partnership with the city. You had a commissioner member. The city manager was on the board, and I believe also there had to be a former commissioner, something along those lines. I don't have the details, but it was something like that. I know that the city, it was a partnership. And about 2 years ago, that was severed. If I'm not wrong about this, like pretty unilaterally, I don't think we even knew that we were getting cut out. And so, I feel that maybe we weren't trusted, and now I find it very awkward to be having this conversation when we were cut out. Can you explain why that happened?
I'm not aware that the city was cut out. So, and I wasn't part of discussions where that was discussed. As far as, I've been a member of the organization for many years. I've been to every meeting, and we've never discussed eliminating partnership with the city.
You haven't noticed that the city hasn't been in the meetings?
Well, Larissa sits on the board.
But she sat on the board, she was on there, again, like not before she was elected to be mayor.
Right.
And I believe that that's when we were, look, this is where my problem is. Like, I don't have all the details either, but I know that the city was carved out. of the arrangement, that the documents that were redone, and we were no longer part of the equation. And for that's uncomfortable for me. So I would not be inclined to approve the donation until I understand that better. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'm happy to be corrected, but that's my understanding right now. And if I feel that if we're not trusted to be in that arrangement, then why should we trust in return with a donation, you know?
Well, there was no benefit to the organization to not have a partnership with the city.
I agree.
All we do is collect funds and donate them to children of the city and to the school. So
I agree with you. That's why I don't understand it.
I was
So
never
if I'm
part of that
wrong,
discussion.
if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And again, you know, maybe if we bring it back in the future, I'll eat my words. But my understanding right now is that we were cut out, and for that reason, I would not be inclined to support the donation.
I have another question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So the purpose of a not-for-profit is to distribute your funds, correct, to
Right.
worthy causes. So we're now in the end of September. Are you planning in the next 2 months to distribute your $47,000 in your money market account?
It will be decided with the principal of the school.
I see.
He has discussed ideas that he has to enhance the library and also to paint the stairwells with inspirational messages on the stair threads. So we're in discussions with him to support those ideas.
Right. Okay. And so you don't have these discussions in January or February?
The principal's new this year.
Yes, I
So-
understand that.
Yeah, so we've been working with him.
So you were waiting for a new principal to arrive?
No, we've given money to the school each year.
Okay. So how much was given last year?
I don't remember.
You-
I don't have it. I didn't bring that information.
Just the ballpark, even.
I really don't remember.
Might it be zero?
I honestly do not remember. I don't think so. I think each year we've given some money to the school.
So no idea.
No.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a few comments. You have 4 directors, right?
Right.
That's what is written here. Okay, so I'm pretty sure, and I hope that you know. And I don't have any questions, Mr. Cuenca. If anything, I appreciate your time and you volunteering for the school and for the children, for our city. I applaud that, and I really am grateful for that, and I thank you. However, I don't know how much information that you have about your board, half of your board of directors, Patricia Alvarez and Larissa Svechin. They were also part of the executive board of the PTSA. Like the mayor says, the vice mayor, they are right now being under investigation for certain misuse of funds. Also talking about compensation. I don't know if you are aware, but these 2 ladies, each one received $1,500 to go in a summer Orlando convention. So I'm scared of when giving funds to an organization, if those are gonna be used in that way. Again, probably you are aware now that you're in conversations with the principal that all the musical equipment that the school has, it is from the very beginning of the school. So it's around 15 years old. The same with the microscopes. Like they continue like changing and all of that and doing certain repairs, but they never had enough money to replace them. However, after the school finished this summer, the PTSA, with the vote of 2 of your members in the capacity of the PTSA, they approved to spend almost $22,000 buying towels to give to the children. $22,000. So I'm scared right now that these $10,000 are going to be used for matching flip-flops or something like that. And of course, I don't trust them. And just to give you an idea, this is what it was bought. $22,000. So having said that, again, I applaud what you're doing. I thank you for what you're doing, but I cannot trust the money with these people. Thank you.
And I would just like to add that you had mentioned.
Vice Mayor, on your microphone, please.
Thank you. I'd also like to mention that I support any efforts whatsoever to help Ukrainian people. And my denial of this donation has nothing to do with injuring Ukrainian people in any way.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Cuenca. Thank you a lot. Thank you.
At this time, if there is a motion to approve this item,
So I would ask for a motion, please.
okay, hearing none, the status quo will remain, and this will not be approved. Ten O is a resolution approving a charitable contribution to War Against Violence Corporation doing business as Youth Alert USA, a 501c3 charitable organization.
Do we have any public comment?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Commissioner Viscar?
So I have my personal list of criteria, right? And that it be a 501c3 or nonprofit. We added that they provide financial info, if this was short notice and not great, that we don't give back-to-back years, that it's not a service we provide, and that it's generally applicable. For me, it checks my boxes, but I wasn't really clear on what the instruction would be or what they're only asking for $1,000, but I wasn't really clear on what the instruction was, what they would be providing. And there was an issue also, Attorney, on how they were registered.
They're not registered.
And that one I didn't catch. So I'm not sure that they completely qualify.
Okay. Did you have any comments?
Yes, I would just like to say that this not-for-profit, even though they are registered, I believe in Kentucky and several other states, they are not registered with the Secretary of State. In Florida, if they are to have employees and doing anything in the schools, they would have to be authorized through the Secretary of State, and they are not. So in that regard,
Okay.
I cannot vote for this.
Commissioner Stuyvesant? Any comments? No? Okay. I need a motion, but I need Commissioner Lama to return, since this needs a supermajority.
Yes, I would need a supermajority.
So if you all can just be a little bit patient, I'd appreciate it.
Commissioner Viscar, was there a question that you were directing to me?
Just to clarify about the registration part, I think the Vice Mayor covered it, but if you had something more to add.
Right, no, just to the Vice Mayor's point, they're not registered with the Secretary of State. There's also, Department of Business Regulation also has there's a statute actually that if you are going to seek donations in the state of Florida, you're supposed to register with them. There are some exceptions based on various criteria, but we did a search and we didn't find them on there either.
Great.
So they don't check all the boxes then?
No.
Okay.
Okay. I need a motion? Okay, no motion, so the item dies. Next item, please.
Next item is a resolution approving the assignment of $6.267400 million. Excuse me, Mayor, let me repeat that one more time. So it's approving an assignment of $6,267,400 to the fund balance assigned line classified for projects related to the Parks and Recreation Master Plan.
1 second. I neglected to ask if there's any public speakers for the last item.
There weren't any.
Okay, I just, for clarification and for the record, thank you. Okay, for this item?
For this item, there's none.
No, I meant, I was asking the city manager to go ahead, please.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, if you recall during our July 19th budget workshop, you had directed us to set money aside or assign monies designated for parks and recreation This is not an additional amount of monies that was not budgeted. We did budget this money. You just directed us to assign or segregate this monies into an account specifically for parks and rec projects. And as part of our memo, it was brought to my attention that it states that the resolution will assign $6,267,400 to the assigned fund balance for PRMP projects. The memo states for the following expenditures, but it should state from the following expenditures. So we are not assigning any monies to any specific project. It's just getting assigned as a group, and then anything going forward will be brought back to you for you all to give us direction going forward.
Great, thank you. Any public speakers, Mauricio? You said no?
ma'am.
So
Okay.
basically, the funds are on hold.
Commissioner, Vice Mayor, go ahead.
Yes, so basically, the funds are on hold.
Mayor?
Please, go ahead.
The funds are in an assigned account to be used as directed by you all as a group.
Yes.
So they will not be used unless we bring it back to you for approval.
For that particular plan.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Commissioner Stuyvesant, questions?
No, I don't have any questions, but we don't have any direction either right now, and where are we moving forward with the Park and Recreation Master Plan. In the workshop that we had today, we actually talk about we need to have, like, which is the next step, step 2, 3, etc. And we don't have that steps right now, or we don't have no clarity. So I don't understand, why do we need to move these monies right now?
Go ahead.
We need to move the monies now because it's best practice prior to October 1st to set this monies into those into the assigned account as directed by you all. So it will be there for when you direct us to use it.
I believe it's just earmarking, correct?
Please.
Yes.
Any questions? Commissioner Lama?
No.
Okay, I need a motion.
Motion.
Any second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item, please.
Next item is 10Q, a resolution authorizing the expenditure of budgeted funds for maintenance and subscription services for certain information technology services. And we can hear the next, item 10, my apologies, 10V, which is a related item.
With 10Q.
With 10Q, yes.
Okay, so if anyone was planning to speak on 10Q or 10V, please fill out a public speaker card. Otherwise, Alan, are you presenting this one? Or the city
No,
manager?
the manager.
I am.
Please.
Mayor, Vice Member, members of the Commission, these are critical infrastructure related to IT projects that have now been exempted because of the delicate nature of the projects. So we're asking for your approval. These are software projects and things related to the police department and IT-related infrastructure projects.
Okay. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next item, please.
10R is a resolution approving a letter agreement with La Playa Beach Associates for sand beach placement at the project located at 18801, known as St. Regis Residences.
Go ahead.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the Commission, we work closely with the developers for the St. Regis project, and we've come up with a letter agreement. The issue is we agreed on the placement, or we agreed to the fact that the beach sand project will be completed. The issue is the elevation of the sand right now. So the essence of the letter agreement is we are agreeing to, at the time when the beach sand will be placed, we will again go out and shoot elevations of the beach and then come up with a plan together as to what would be in the city's best interest for the placement of the beach sand. The reason for the agreement now is it would be part of the project and necessary. The letter agreement is part of the application for DEP for the project to move forward.
Great. Do we have any public speakers?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Commissioner Stedison? Vice Mayor?
So I understand that which I didn't know before, that there is a height for the sand on the beach. Is that correct?
We have shot elevations now, so yes, if we were to, the discrepancy is whether we would spread the sand eastward versus affecting the elevation of the sand right now as it is, which could be up to 18 inches. So we've agreed that over time, over these next couple of years, due to settlement, that elevation could change. So we want to shoot those elevations in time going forward versus using what's existing right now.
Okay. So the sand height at the property right now is the maximum height allowable?
It's not so much the maximum height allowable as it would potentially elevate up to 18 inches if they were to do it the way that they are proposing now. And we would like to look at other options.
I see. So we just approved a dune master plan. So how does that, and this sand height did not come into play when we were talking about the dune master plan. So now that this has come to light, how does that affect the fact that we might have these CO'd plantings that cause the sand to be elevated at certain areas?
This doesn't have anything to do with the dune in the future. This is strictly related to the placement of the beach sand. And should the elevations change over time through a potential dune or some sort of plantings, those would be taken into account at that time.
Then it would the height would have to be reduced?
The height would have to be adjusted, depending upon DEP and Army Corps requirements, etc., and whatever's in the best interest of the city and our residents.
Okay. So then that would make the dune master plan moot, would it not?
I think that the dune master plan, as recommended by you all as a group, is a recommendation and not a requirement. So the dune plan would not come into play when we figure out what the beach elevation should be.
Okay, but the dune master plan authorizes this fellow Lee Gottlieb to go around to condominiums and try to get
Okay,
them
Vice
to
Mayor,
do-
I'm just going to remind you, we're not going to address,
Understand, but
say
I'd
anybody's
just like to
name
finish my comment.
or
Okay, so the
speak
person
of
who is
anyone and
now-
their reputation, please.
Yes, okay. So he's now been
And
given...
we're not speaking about the dune master plan right
Well,
now.
I'd just like to finish my thought.
Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. So if someone were to approach now condominiums through our dune master plan, even as a thought, and they would do plantings that caused sand to be captured, that might cause an issue with our height restriction, correct?
I wouldn't know how those relate. I just know that we're going to shoot elevations in the future, and whatever's in the best interest of the city is what we're going to go with. So I don't know how any dune plan may or may not affect it.
Okay, thank you.
I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item, please.
Next item is 10S, which has been deferred. 10T is a resolution expressing support for a no-wake zone in Dunfoundling Bay, directing the city manager and the city attorney to begin the process of submitting an application and an ordinance for review and approval by the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission.
This is your item, Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
So I have had contact with our friends and the city attorney and residents from Hallandale who have been successful in adopting a no-wake zone, an all-year no-wake zone in Hallandale. They are willing to work with us for no fee for us, in order for us to be successful as well. Our objectives are a little different than what theirs were, but we have at Dunfoundling Bay and across to the waterways and going north through and under the Lehman Causeway, going down to the tip of Dunfoundling Bay, we have a T situation where we have during full out times of the year when boats can go full speed, we have a dangerous situation where there's speeding, and especially at the intersection where we have boats coming in from all directions, jet skis as well, and we have a large number of speeding violations that are usually written, which would allow us to present to FWC in order to have an all-year no-wake zone. So we have a template along that is being presented to us from Hallandale in order for us to follow and allow us to eliminate a couple of state agencies as they were able to do. Alan has that information to work along with those individuals to assist us so that we can be most successful once our Marine Patrol is able to write a significant number of tickets starting in November.
Do we have any public speakers?
No, ma'am.
Do we have any questions from the commission? Commissioner Viscara?
No questions, just comments. I think it's, if it'll, because you didn't really mention this, but it's, I wasn't aware that there's damage to homes. And so there's the safety issue and the environmental factor, but there's also the damage to the homes.
Correct.
So I think with those two things, and I think what we could be doing better on the environmental fronts, and I think this is a good place to start. Plus, I'm sure the homeowners would appreciate not having the damage that the...
Yes. Also, let me add that the reason for the no-wake zone is that manatee reside along the edges of the waterway, and they're around all year. So it's kind of silly to have the no-wake part of the year and then not at other times.
I agree. I think it's worth exploring, for sure. I mean, it's not guaranteed, because we have to jump through the hoops, but I think it's worth trying.
Yes, and we have an excellent template, and we have another city that's willing to work us through it as well.
Commissioner Lama?
Yeah, I think it's worth exploring, and it'll bring a benefit to the city if we're able to pass an ordinance, and, or the Fish and Wildlife will grant us that ordinance.
I need a motion.
I make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item, please.
10U is a resolution expressing support for the conceptual design of an elevated public park along Collins Avenue.
This is your
So,
item.
yes, in this regard, I would like to present Ken Percy, who has a presentation regarding the skyline.
Wait a second. We already had the presentation.
Well, we had a workshop where there was no back and forth and questions that were asked. So unless someone has questions, and
Yeah, I think that we went through an extensive presentation. So if there's questions on the commission, or unless, Ken, you wanted to just speak in general for 3 minutes, but if anyone has questions, Commissioner Viscara?
No.
Okay, Commissioner Lama?
I don't have any questions, no.
I would like to see the presentation, yeah.
The entire presentation?
Whatever he
It's
prepared.
much shorter.
It's shorter than the 40 minutes?
yes,
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Sure,
yeah,
go ahead.
we could see it, yeah.
I think it would be good as a refresher as well.
So this one? Yes. So in recent years, there's been a big increase in the amount of personal powered mobility vehicles, and we're well
Could you
aware-
speak up, please, Ken?
Sorry, there we go. People are using electric vehicles and they're using them on the sidewalk quite considerably. Some of the operators are travelling at considerable speed. This is Collins Avenue. The purpose of this particular concept is to provide create new space for pedestrians and other vulnerable road users. Now, I had the pleasure earlier today to present this presentation to the City of Aventura, and we learned at that meeting they actually lost one of their school children on Sunday who was knocked off a bicycle by a vehicle. And, you know, we're becoming more and more vulnerable to the amount of vehicles that are on our highway, particularly Collins Avenue. So this concept is to provide new space, additional space, a 16-acre public park that sits above Collins Avenue and the Lehman Causeway to allow pedestrians, cyclists, people in wheelchairs, people that would like to go jogging and what have you, to be separated from the highway. What I wasn't able to show last time is the concept that there will be stations every half mile or so for the tram that runs inside this public park. And that, where those stations are, the little wings go out to the side that allow for a pair of elevators and a wraparound stair on each side, which provide very convenient places for people to be able to cross Collins Avenue. It's also intended to be constructed in a simple manner. This elevated deck that goes there is only 36 feet wide. It's the width of 3 traffic lanes. It's not the whole width of Collins Avenue. That's the reason that the little wings are necessary. It's also intended to provide a place where people can sort of congregate in the shade whilst waiting for their trees and meet up with friends and colleagues as it comes along. The cost of the project, we think it's around about $75 million a mile, and it's 4 miles long. What's needed now is a feasibility study. There's been a few informal conversations with Miami-Dade TPO and with county. The feasibility study is going to cost $180,000 or slightly less than that. What we understand from TPO is if we go in and ask for full funding of that $180,000, we go in the bottom of the slot with everybody else, and it'll take 3 years before this sees the light of day. If Sunny Isles Beach and Aventura are willing to contribute a 20% to this, so that'd be $36,000, that would be a massive change in the way TPO see this. This goes on the top of the pile and they would start moving it immediately. TPO seem to like this from what I've heard. Joe Corradino is working with me on this, and he knows Eileen Bouclé very, very well. And at the workshop that we had in Gateway Center, where Miami-Dade County were there, they were also very interested, and they want to support this as well. But somebody's got to move, and somebody has to move this first. And so I believe that this resolution asks for the city to agree to the funding of, or putting some of the funding forward for the $36,000 to then allow the positive conversation to commence immediately with TPO this month.
Okay.
And Miami-Dade would, TPO would be paying the bulk of the funding.
Okay. So as I understood it, this resolution was to support the conceptual design. Is that correct, City Attorney?
That's correct. It's essentially the City Commission hereby expresses its support for the conceptual design of an elevated public park along Collins Avenue.
Correct.
Any questions? Please go ahead.
I know I'm the one commissioner who hasn't been able to meet with you individually. So the question I've been most curious about is, because you show us the pictures of Sunny House, but this is supposed to connect to the Bright Line.
Correct.
How does it get to Aventura? Is this the same thing over the Lehman?
Yes, you can see the alignment runs. Excuse me. The alignment right across the causeway and terminates at Aventura's high-speed rail station.
So it goes over Biscayne too?
Now, the reason for that is because it terminates at the HSR. That makes it much more eligible for state funding, because this becomes a first mile, last mile, high-speed rail.
Uh-huh.
So the state of Florida is really only the second state in the whole country that has high-speed rail. And this is a massive positive. Being able to get from here to in Orlando in under in around about 2 hours, which is a 4 to 5 hour car journey, is something that we want to be able to see. Most of the rest of the world have been doing that for quite a long time. High-speed rail, 150, 180 mile an hour trains, as opposed to the 90 mile an hour that we have at the present time.
Okay, and let me see, I had another, okay, so that's my one question. My other question is, I mean, my big concern is, it would only take 3 people in essence, right? 3 of us to push this forward and then to the next and the next. It would only take 3 people. But we have to consider, I mean, this is something that would be in front of all our hotels, our condos, I mean, anything that's along Collins. Have we gotten any input from them?
Absolutely not. The whole thought process, and particularly after I spoke with Alan, was to make sure that the Sunny House Commission was first and foremost, you need to decide, is this something we want to have a conversation with anybody else about?
Understood.
The feedback I got from the last time I stood here was, yes, this is sort of interest. So I went to Aventura and I had the same conversation with them, and it was predominantly very, very positive. Their first response was, we like this, but we don't want to pay any money. Nobody ever does. But something has got to get this moving. And so far, the only thing that's got this moving is me getting it to this point. You've been kind enough to listen to me. But this is a concept that I believe everybody will look back on in 5 years' time and say, why haven't we been doing this for decades? We have all the space sitting above the highways. The highway divides all the residents on one side of the street from the other. We've got people being injured and visitors sort of running across between traffic because they just can't see a way across. They know they want to go from here to there. This provides a public park, 16 acres of public park. It provides a tram service on a very fast, a very frequent 5-minute a mile headway. So throughout the day, it's intended to start early in the morning at 6 o'clock, so as it brings workers that are in housekeeping and the hotels, the kitchen staff, landscapers, security, and at the end of the day, it takes away people that come into the city to work, people from the restaurants, again, the night shift of security coming in. It's those people that currently now have virtually no public transport. They have to drive here. They find somewhere to park their cars, which is very inconvenient. This also includes a park and ride on the William Lehman Causeway, so that they can sort of park at one of the stations, come in, do their 8-10 hour shift, and go away again, and not be bringing their cars into Sunny House Beach. That was my starting point for all of this, was what can we do to reduce the amount of cars that need to come in here and give alternative, environmentally responsible transportation to the people that live here, that comes to visit us, that are from out of town. This is a hydrogen-powered tram service. Each one of those trams can carry, they're 50 feet long and they can carry up to around about 100 people. You can link 4 of them together if we want to do that. So I'm seeing the school run in particular. We have lots of people driving to the school. Wednesday, I took photographs of probably about 40 people riding electric scooters with
At
their
least.
child in front of them
Yes.
at one corner. The world has changed.
I've seen with 2 kids, like an adult and 2 kids.
Yeah, but the ones that frighten me is the 2 10-year-olds. And they're
Yes,
laughing and giggling
and the
as they're going
phone.
along. And they're riding alongside a bus at 20 miles an hour. Right? So I just think that this is something that needs to be investigated. And that's what the feasibility study is. The feasibility study specifically is going to look at, the needs, the benefits, the potential benefits, the business opportunities, the revenue, the funding of this, how much money may be eligible to come both from state and maybe even federal. I would pitch this as a concept project, because Joe Corradino and I have identified at least 5 other locations within a 20-mile radius of where we're sitting right now where this could go almost identically. Because what you have, if you have high density of people and a divided highway in between, it's getting people backwards and forwards across. How do you move them up and down on a 10-foot sidewalk? And our sidewalks are more and more congested with street furniture. We have a situation right outside the gateway where there is a traffic light pole that takes up exactly 50% of the sidewalk. The base plate is 50% of the dimension of the sidewalk. It's 56 inches wide. It's enormous. It's unbelievable. This would allow some of that street furniture to be taken away in its entirety because it could drop down from the underside of the deck. I don't have the answers to all of these things. We need some professionals to look at their own specialities, write a report for Sunny Isles Beach, for Aventura, for Miami-Dade County, and for Miami-Dade TPO, so as we can then go to Tallahassee and FDOT and say, we want this, now help us.
This will be my last comment. That is, like, in terms of Aventura, like, the impact on them is very different from the impact on us. Like, you're talking about going over the Lehman, and this is like in the middle of our city. And I just think that we need to know how those buildings, those organizations and those associations would feel about something like this, because it's literally like in the middle of our city and not just over the Lehman for Aventura, which is minimal impact. So that would be my only comment, and I know we want to move it along, so.
Can I very quickly just address that? So there's 2 components to it. As I drove over to the City of Aventura's government centre today, I counted 12 pedestrians on the bridge walking over and 3 cyclists. Right, so they all come in our direction because it was in the morning. There was a really very strong article in AARP magazine last month talking about how the older generation, and I'm one of them, and everybody gets to be old, hopefully, are much more active than previous generations. They want to get out, they want to cycle, they want to walk, they want to jog, they want to meditate in the park. And I know Commissioner Lama is looking for a meditation centre in the right place. That's a great place to do it. You know, this is getting us 16 acres of new public park. It's the same concept as, if you go back 50 years, Collins Avenue was predominantly 1- and 2-story drive-up motels, and somebody came up with the idea of, let's put 40-story condo there instead, let's use the space above. That's all this is. It's taking that same concept and saying, let's take this space, but not put cars there, because if we don't do something, we'll be like downtown Miami in 15, 20 years' time, because somebody at FDOT will say, why don't we just put a second layer so as we can move more traffic heading north and south?
All right.
We own the median.
Thank you. Alex? Commissioner Lama?
Yeah, thanks. So, yeah, this is a big undertaking. Thank you for the presentation. like I have two voices, right? One is like, it's a cool concept, but then also there's the skeptic in me. So the cost is high. Obviously, we discussed this, that the cost, we don't know at this point who will pay for that. Then the second question is, will people use it, right? If we build it, will people use it, or they will still decide to stay on the ground level? And we already are a very dense and saturated city. So I don't know if a structure that traverses all of our city will particularly sit well. And then I understand we need to do a feasibility. This is just a concept, but if we approve this resolution now, would we be committing ourselves to paying the 20%, the $36,000 for the feasibility study?
No,
No? Okay.
not under this resolution.
Not under this one, okay.
The resolution is the concept.
Okay. And then also I'm concerned about, you have these big, what do you call it, posts, right?
The columns.
The columns, yeah, thank you. And I'm concerned about if those are going to take up space from Collins Avenue, if it's going to affect the traffic, and also if it's going to affect our sidewalks. So just some thoughts.
It's in the median.
So the answer
It's
to
in the
the
median.
questions very quickly is the columns sit in the median, and the way Collins Avenue is structured, the FDOT's right of way is about 100 feet. They have a pair of 3 lanes running north and south. Each lane's 12 feet wide, so 36 and 36 is 72 feet. 2 10-foot sidewalks, and the 8-foot median sits in the center. The column will be dead center, so it won't affect the traffic. Actually, Susan asked that question, and there may need to be little barriers around it to, for the traffic, but it won't affect the traffic. And because it sits in the middle, and I'm going to go back. It sits on those columns. It only spans across the middle of Collins Avenue. It shades the number 3 lane and a little bit of the number 2 lane. It's only where the wings are that you actually have to connect to the ground, and those elevator shafts are 20 feet by 10.
And where would those sit?
They actually sit outside the right-of-way, so right behind the sidewalk.
On the sidewalk?
Behind the sidewalk.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's another question
Yeah.
mark there.
Yeah.
We need to resolve that.
And then just to the cost, once this starts operating, with the information I have right now, it will generate twice as much income each year as it costs to operate and maintain. So if you take the construction out of the equation, this is going to be a net income for the city. That's assuming that we charge the same price as a bus to be able to
Right.
run this.
Commissioner Stuyvesant, do you have questions? Do we have public speakers?
We do, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Ken.
Thank you so much.
Jody Joseph?
Thank you.
Jody Joseph, 18560 North Bay Road. I know that I've been advocating for a beach walk. Almost every city has a beach walk. We don't. And it's terrible for the handicapped people. When we had our celebration, wheelchairs weren't able to move. People were stuck. They were just sitting in one place. People with the strollers, they couldn't even push their baby strollers. But everything is important, and I'm going to quickly say how about safety. Collins Avenue is not a place to exercise, to walk your babies, for someone just even in a wheelchair wants to get out and enjoy life. So I've been advocating again for a beach walk, but this, in my opinion, is just amazing. This just takes Sunny Isles to a whole different plateau. And for people concerned about the high-rises, the high-rises are built, I think they were supposed to be 100 feet between buildings. I think there's something like 50. And, they're right, they're going up to like 60 stories now. So it's not like something like that is going to be blocking the sun and giving, everybody says that because of the high-rises, the beach is shaded by like 2 o'clock. And I know because I go to the beach. But something like this, again, is just for safety, and even with a beach walk, you couldn't bicycle on it because our beach is too narrow. So this is just really something. I mean, New York has Central Park. This is just amazing, and it's beautiful, and just quickly, we're talking about to start 100 and something thousand. How much did we pay for the park and recreations? That we don't even know what's gonna happen, if it's gonna work, what's going where. At least this looks like a plan. And it's just so, excuse me? And it's just, again, for safety, because it is sad. There was a little girl, and actually, one of you up there has a child. Well, I know you all do, a sweet little boy. And I was coming home, dropping my daughter off, and he was in the middle of the road on a bicycle. And I said, "What are you doing?" With no helmet. So these kids, no matter how much we know, we teach, we hope, we take them for the free helmets, they really don't listen. And again, this is something, because they will not be able to ride their bicycles on the beach walk that I hope we get. This is just for safety, for, again, quality of life for people in Sunny Isles. And personally, I don't see a downside to it. I just think this is going to be beautiful. And really, besides our beautiful ocean and area and hotels and condos, this is going to put us on the map. I mean, it's just, in the right direction to have something just that really exquisite. And I don't know where the gentleman is, but I know I met him when he was talking about this at the Parks and Recreation, that I actually went to both, and sadly not a lot of people showed up to that. And it's really an amazing thing when you have a little more time to question and speak with him. It's just something really unique, because we don't have a lot of things. Yeah, thank you, really. Amazing. It's like, wanting to start over Central Park in New York and people saying, well, it may not be a good idea. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mauricio?
There's no other public speakers.
Okay. You want to add something? Go ahead.
Yes, please. So we had a discussion earlier regarding in our Parks and Recreation plan that there was an issue regarding parking lots. This project would alleviate the need for parking lots, since this would move people back and forth throughout the city. They could get off at a station, walk to a sports park, get back on, go home. No need for cars, parking lots. We have additional space for our parks. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Sampson, do you have anything? All right, so what I wanted to add is, first of all, Ken, thank you for the presentation. I think I was one of the first people that you met with, and I do agree that it's a lovely rendering. My concerns are very similar to what Commissioner Viscara said, which is just the amount of space it takes up, the visual and the height, but also that we're attaching it to Brightline, which is a privately owned company, which so far still hasn't started service to Orlando. And the question that I had before that is yet to be answered, because this is still in the beginning stages, is where does it start? Where does it connect from? And at one point recently, we had rejected having any sort of elevated pedestrian bridging or walkways or parks. So this kind of takes us in the opposite direction. So while I do agree that it's a beautiful rendering, I don't support feasibility studies, because they usually cost, for some reason, it's about the $150,000, $180,000. And while I support the rendering, I think that if we're trying to send the message that we're trying to look at things in a holistic way, supporting this separately when we were just talking about the parks is not consistent with what we were meaning to do, which is look at everything together. So with that, I'll take a motion.
Okay, I would like to add.
Please go
one
ahead.
issue. Actually, the bulk of the funding for this study would be by the county. So this is only a small portion that Sunny Isles would contribute if we go ahead and contribute. If we do the resolution without contributing any funding whatsoever, it would just take longer for the county to review, and if they're excited about the plan, to accept the plan. So in any regard, if we go, if the resolution is passed, there is no cost to the city. It would take longer. I would like to see the $36,000 contributed by the city, because we have a lot to benefit from this project. And in my opinion, it would be well worth the $36,000.
Thank
But
you.
in any regard, the resolution still, because you have to take risks in, in life. This is a future project which would only benefit the city, and there is no cost to us now to have the project go through with the passing of this resolution.
Great, thank you. I'll take the
Mayor.
motion.
Mayor, may I?
Please.
I just wanted to add that we have no money is budgeted for this, so anything, if you give us the direction, it would require a budget amendment.
Got it. Okay. So with that, I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I need a second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No, can I just comment something?
No,
Yeah,
for-
it's just a no? All
No,
right.
just a no.
All right, no.
Commissioner Viscara?
Yeah, I just don't think we're ready.
Okay. I'm a no as well.
Okay, so the resolution fails 2-3.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm not there yet, so, yeah, we're not ready.
I agree with you. Okay, we had add-on items, 10W.
Yes, 10W is a resolution adopting guidelines for submission of commissioner items for meetings of the city commission. Very quickly, Mayor and Commissioners, if you recall at the last meeting in August, we had a discussion on how to best streamline these commission meetings and make them more effective. One of the things that we discussed is something that we actually started today. For the benefit of the public, we separated the special presentations and discussion items that are normally held and considered during the evening session of these commission meetings, and we moved them to 3 o'clock during the day, during the workshop. Another thing that was discussed last month was assisting staff in being, for lack of a better word, better prepared to engage in the discussions on these items that the commission brings forward. And in order to curtail that, we requested, and the commission agreed, to have you all establish these guidelines that will assist us effectively to be able to do our due diligence as a staff, to be able to better engage in a discussion that will lead to something rather than the discussion just ending up in staff having to do more research. So very quickly, I'll just, in the spirit of transparency as well, I'll just go over some key points of these guidelines. And if you all would like to follow along, it's in the resolution under section 1, the adoption of the guidelines. The first thing that it calls for is a memorandum. This will provide staff with the necessary information to be able to conduct our due diligence and, again, be able to engage in a fruitful discussion. The formatting for these memos will be provided by my office, and that you all will just have to simply plug in the information so that we can, again, do our research and also be able to craft these resolutions. The next one is as it relates to ordinances, and this is more so memorializing it more than anything because it's a practice that we've carried over for several years now, and it's basically having ordinances discussed in a public forum such as these commission meetings to ensure that we have the consensus of the entire commission, because these are effectively ordinances that change the code and affect the public at large. So in order for staff to be able to provide, again, useful information and feedback, and also to better use their time in developing these ordinances, it's best to always have the consensus of the commission moving forward. So that's why we are putting it as a request to have these items considered as a discussion. The next item is the ministerial acts. So certain ministerial acts, such as the Pledge of Allegiance, the invocation, the national anthem, the color guard, those items will be scheduled at the discretion of the city clerk. And my reasoning for that is, again, because we are trying to make these meetings to be more streamlined, more effective, and run along a lot faster. We don't want to start boggling them down with all these extra acts that, although they are important in their own right, aren't necessarily necessary for every single meeting. So the discretion that my office will be using when scheduling this and taking in consideration are reserving those ministerial acts for meetings that, I don't want to say meaningful because they're all meaningful, but that we know beforehand, we'll draw the public to come out to these meetings, or in a meeting where we know that there is a dignitary that will be in attendance. So we want to reserve that for those type of meetings. And then most importantly, from all the guidelines is asking the commission to adhere to a strict deadline to submit your requested items, and that's 2 weeks prior to the meeting date. So again, the reasoning for this is to allow mostly for staff to be able to be better prepared and be able to provide useful feedback to you all when these items are discussed. So with that said, these are the guidelines that you all requested that we put into this resolution. It'll help us help you all when it comes to carrying out your duties and doing what you all were elected to do.
Okay, since this was an add-on item, 10W, do we have any public comment?
We do not, but if you want to ask if anybody.
Does anyone have any? We're good? All right. Vice Mayor, do you have any comments or questions?
No?
Commissioner Stuyvesant? Commissioner Viscara?
Yeah, I think that if we're going to implement this, and it's good to have a system, we're going to have to be disciplined. So it's on us, right, to not come on the 11th hour. But this is really important. Like, we have to be respectful of that if we vote for it. And now I asked earlier, I said, what happens if it's, I know they're asking for 14 days. What if it's day 12 and I have my whole packet? And it's a really good idea, right? It's the greatest thing that's ever happened. Okay, so I have it. What happens then, right? So can you walk us through the process? I missed the deadline. I have my homework. What happens?
So the spirit and intent of the resolution is not for us to say no to you all as commissioners. We don't want to say no, but we want you all to help us help you again to be able to present these items and be able to provide useful information that you all can use in your decision-making process. So to answer your question, Commissioner Viscara, if you come to us on the 12th, 11th day, so long as you have the information or most of the information already for the city manager to review, and again, this will be a case-by-case basis because not all items are alike, but if it's an item that the city manager's office mostly feels comfortable being able to report on or provide some sort of feedback on, then certainly we'll put it on the agenda. But if it's an item that requires an extensive amount of research, and especially if it's an item that's coming to us to be placed on the agenda the week that we're printing or even the week of the commission meeting, then respectfully at that point we will say no. And then if you all notice, and thank you for bringing this up because I did want to point it out, in the resolution it also includes language that will still give you all the authority to be able to bring these items forward, but it'll have to be done the day of the commission meeting, and it'll have to be a motion that you request from your colleagues to waive these guidelines and still consider and have that discussion.
Okay, so let me change the scenario. So it's not day 12, it's day 4. There's 4 days before the commission. It's bad, right? You don't want to see my face. I have my homework. What happens? And it's a good one. It's a good thing. Then how does that work?
So at that point, I will say no, I can't add it to the agenda. But that, again, does not preclude you from presenting the item at the commission meeting so long as the rest of the commissioners agree. As far as the information, obviously we'll take it and we'll distribute it to the commission so that they have at least something if they do decide to move forward with it. But again, the straight answer will be no, and it'll be up to your colleagues to decide.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Commissioner Lama, do you have any questions?
No, I think Commissioner Viscara made all the questions already.
I do have a question.
Please,
Okay.
go ahead.
So what about in the opposite side? Like in the last commission meeting, the day of the meeting, you guys presented us the contract for the pier for the restaurant. We received it that day, that moment when we were sitting down here, and we were kind of forced to vote for it. So what is going to be the guideline now for your office?
Yeah, so to answer that question, Commissioner, again, the intent and spirit of this resolution is to help staff, help you all make informed decisions and to be able to do the necessary research. So if we're taking that item specifically, it was already an item that had been discussed at length behind the scenes among staff. So that's why it was brought forward with all the necessary information that you all would have needed to make your decision. So not to say that, we're being held to a different standard, but this is our job. We're already doing the research beforehand, before these items are presented to you. Your items, most of the time, and again, this is not to call out any one commissioner or the commission as a body for that matter. This is just simply a request to help us, help you all make informed decisions.
Thank you. So I just want to add, Mauricio, you've been working on putting this on the agenda for the last, 4 meetings? So I applaud you for finally getting to the end. This doesn't only help the staff. It most certainly helps us, because there's been times, many times, where we put something on the agenda and there's no memo. So when we get here, we're very surprised about the conversation, and then our item ends up dying, and we don't have enough information to vote yes or no. But more importantly, for the purpose of transparency, all this information will then be available to the public. And this is something that we've all gotten feedback from the public, which is, I'm not getting enough information. Whatever you all are talking about, you only have it and we don't. So I think that this is overall very helpful, and thank you. I absolutely support this. I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay.
So with that said, next month's deadline will be the second week of October.
Okay.
Unless it's really, really important.
Really. Second week of
And I will say no.
October. And if I may please just add to the city manager, if I may, if that can be please added to our calendars as a reminder, I think that would be fair to do that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We'll add that too.
All right.
I just have one question. So Mauricio, are you including in this notification regarding the national anthem singing?
Yes, it's all included as part of the ministerial acts that will be at the discretion of the city clerk.
All right. So next item is citizens forum. Do we have public speakers, Mauricio?
We do, Mayor. We have David Virgil.
Your name and address for the record, even though we know you.
Yep, my name is David Virgil. My address is 17500 North Bay Road, Sunny Isles Beach. I just want to mention something I noticed as I was walking here today. I think that the lightning warning sirens at Gwen Margolis Park might not be working. I noticed there was a lightning strike nearby, and the sirens went off in, I think, Town Center Park and Sampson Park, but it was completely silent in Gwen Margolis Park. So I think that might be something to look at. And I also noticed that the little beacon light that turns on when there's lightning also wasn't working. So that's another reason why I think the siren might not be connected to the system. And
Thank you.
yeah, that's all.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you, David.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you.